Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everyone here this morning. Did anybody else have frost at their house today? Man. Went out to get the pickup and it was frosted over. And I thought, wow. So, may have been it, I don't know. It's good to see everyone here today.
My pickup was under the shed, but what I saw the raw was on my tomato plant.
Oh, yeah. That's not good.
They should have been under the shed.
We're in Luke, the 19th chapter this morning. Luke, the 19th chapter. The beginning of that chapter is an account of a encounter that Jesus had that you probably heard it all your life. If you've been in the church, I know I know a lot of us have. The story of Zacchaeus. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that? Wee little
man.
Wee little fella, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to your mind, isn't it? We're going to dig a little deeper into Zacchaeus. There's a lot more to the story than just a small fella. Okay? There in verse 1 of chapter 19. He entered Jericho and was passing through. And there was a man by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was rich. Okay, there's a few things right there that we need to know. Zacchaeus was a man of prominence, wasn't he? He wasn't just a poor drifter, okay? It says he was a chief tax collector. What does that mean? Does anyone have any idea?
He was the worst of the worst.
No. Could be. Well, what does that mean to you?
He was probably in charge of us.
He was in charge of a lot of other. Okay? Chief tax collector, who did he answer to? The Romans, okay? He dictated directly to them. Okay? He worked under them. And he was a very well-known, was he a Jew or a Roman or what was he? Most likely he was a Jew. Okay? He was, because we'll get a little further, it'll talk about him being he was also a son of Abraham. So, I mean, he was a Jew. But he also was very rich. A lot of people, when they talk about the tax collectors back then, how did they view them?
He would come up for the
As long as they got the money that was owed to Rome, that's all Rome cared about. Anything extra, they could keep. Okay? So some of the tax collectors, let's just put it this way, abused the system. Got more than they should. We'll just put it that way. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go through. Verse 3 now. Zacchaeus was trying to see who Jesus was. Before I go any further, does anyone know what the word Zacchaeus meant? I did not realize this until I was studying. You say, Phil, we don't use that word very much today, okay? But, let's see, where did I see it at? It says the name Zacchaeus means pure, just, or innocent. That creates another thought on that, doesn't it? I never had thought of that before. Okay. Verse 3. He was trying to see who Jesus was and was able because of the crowd, for he was small in stature. He was height deficient. Okay? He had a little problem. So, but the thing about it was he was trying to see who Jesus was. So he ran ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree, and in order to see him, for he was about to pass through that way. When you read that, you think, here Zacchaeus ran up ahead and climbed up in a tree where he could see Jesus. What does that mean? What does that tell you about Zacchaeus?
He was interested for sure.
Huh?
And he was interested.
He was interested, okay? Does it tell you a little bit about his determination?
Yeah, he's gonna do whatever it took.
He was going to make sure he's seen Jesus. He was a little more determined. He put some effort into it. Okay? Verse 5. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for today I must stay at your house. You think Zacchaeus was surprised when Jesus called his name? Because we just heard that Zacchaeus was wanting to see who Jesus was. More than likely they've never met before. But Jesus called him by name. I don't know about you, but that'd get my attention, wouldn't it you?
And there was a crowd of people.
And a crowd of people were all around and heard it.
Haphazard thing.
Yeah. And he said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for today I must stay at your house. I can imagine a lot of the people that were following Jesus, their mouths just open. Not only did he know who Zacchaeus was, but he was going to go to his house. And he hurried and came down and received him gladly. When they saw it, they all began to grumble, saying, he has gone to be a guest of a man who is a sinner. You stop and think about that. The group of people that were following Jesus, look what they said about Zacchaeus. And not only that, they turned on Jesus and tell him, what is the meaning of this?
That's what he
Him
came for.
going to his house?
That's what he came for.
Exactly. You have to remember, there were some people that followed Jesus that wanted to see, wanted to know, wanted to be with him. But there was others that followed him, namely the Pharisees, that were just looking for Jesus to slip up. And looking for a reason to condemn him. You say, well, that's a sad testament, isn't it, to people? But that's the way they were. That's what happened. And here, anything that he done, they were critiquing it. I can't believe he's doing it. That man's a sinner. He's one of the chief sinners. And he's going to be in his house. Now in verse 8. Zacchaeus stopped and said to the Lord. Because you know Zacchaeus heard all this. He heard all these accusations that were being said. Okay? He said to the Lord, behold, Lord, half of my possessions I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will give back 4 times as much. Boy, no, that's quite a statement, isn't it? Have you ever stopped and thought about that?
How different is that from the one that came to him before and asked?
The rich young ruler.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he went away sorrowful when.
Yeah.
But this one says,
He
okay,
volunteered
I'll
this, didn't he? We just talked about how rich Zacchaeus was. And said, behold, Lord, half of my possessions I will give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will give back 4 times as much. Now, what would you say that Zacchaeus has just done here?
I'd say Jesus made a change, and meeting Jesus sure made a change.
Okay? But what would we say that Zacchaeus has done here? He has just repented of anything that he has done wrong. Lord, if I've done anything wrong, I'll make it right. More than that, I'll go overboard to make it right. Because most likely back in the Old Testament, when they talked about if someone stole or defrauded someone, They had to pay back what it was plus 1/5. Look what he's wanting is offering to do. 4 times as much. That's going above and beyond, you might say. Okay? But you talk about, he said, I'll sell half of my possessions I will give to the poor. How many of us would do that today? Wow. I don't know that any of us can step up like that. And Jesus' response in verse 9. And Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. Okay, what does that tell us? We know that now that Zacchaeus was a Jew, and that he has come to seek and save the lost. We knew the condition that Zacchaeus was in before Jesus was lost. You say, well, how in the world is Jesus going to save him? Who are we dealing with here? Jesus is able to save. Because why? Why is Jesus able to?
He's the Son of God.
He's the Son of God. Is this the only time that he had forgiven sins? The woman by the way, thief on the cross. You start nailing it down. He's able to do that because he is the Christ. Okay? Now in verse 11. While they were listening to these things, Jesus went on to tell a parable because he was near Jerusalem, and they supposed that the kingdom of God was going to appear immediately. Now you need to remember, a lot of these people thought that Jesus was the Messiah. You know, they thought he was going to be the leader of the new revolution, we might say. They thought he was going to set up an earthly kingdom. They thought they was going to get rid of them Romans. That way we don't have to deal with them people anymore. Little did they know, they did not understand that Jesus was talking spiritually. They looked for a physical kingdom. So whenever you hear things like this, they suppose that the kingdom of God was going to appear immediately when he was going into Jerusalem. That's what they thought. It's hard for us to wrap our minds around that at times. Of course, we got the word. We can understand what they're talking about later on. The spiritual end of it. But they have looked for a physical. So in verse 12, so he said, a nobleman went to a distant country to receive a kingdom for himself and then return. And he called 10 of his slaves and gave them 10. Some versions have denarius, some has minans, or I don't know how you want to pronounce that, but it was a term of money. Okay? And he gave them 10 and said, do business with this until I come back. I think that's a term that we need to remember here when he's talking to these people. He gave his slaves so much money apiece. We're going to get down and to see how much each one here.
Mine says that it's about 100 days' wages.
About 100 days' wages. So, I mean, it's a pretty good sum of money. Okay, it's not like giving somebody $1 and I said, take care of this. No. It's several $100s. Okay, that we would think of. But he said, tell them to do business with this till I come back. What does that mean to you? Do business with this till I come back.
Make interest at it.
Take care of it. Use it like you should. Profit with it. Okay? Because when we do business today, we try to make a dollar or two with it, don't we? Because if not, you can't do business very long if you lose money. Okay? said, do business until I return. Verse 14 now. But his citizens hated him and sent a delegation after him, saying, we do not want this man to reign over us. When he returned after receiving the kingdom, he ordered these slaves to whom he had given the money to be called to him, so that he might know what business they had done. You stop and think about that. How did these workers, we'll just put it workers, a lot of people don't like the term slave at that point. Workers, how did they view their boss?
Mean.
They hated him. They hated him. Don't know the reason why, but that's what he said. So he brought them to see how they had done with the money that he had left them, what business they had done. The first appeared, saying, Master, the mina you gave has made 10 more. So what did he do? He made 10 times the money. Okay? Man, he made a lot of profit. 10 times more. And he said to him, well done, good slave, because you have been faithful in a very little thing. You are to be authority over 10 cities. The second came, saying, your minion master has made 5 more. And he said to him also, you are to be over 5 cities. And another came and said, Master, here is your minion which I had put away in a handkerchief. For I was afraid of you, because you are an exacting man. You take up what you have not laid down. You reap what you have not sown. Do you see the extremes that we're looking at here? One man, 10 times profit. The other man, 5 times profit. The other man wrapped it in a handkerchief. Do you see the extremes here? You can see the one man that wrapped it in a handkerchief. What was he? I'm just going to keep this out of the way so I don't lose it.
Hey, Phil, question. Is that telling us that what we got, we need to use it? Especially faith.
Exactly. The main thing is, if we don't use something in our lives, what usually happens? You lose it. Whatever that may be, you can fill in the blank here. If you don't walk for a month, what happens? You don't walk. It's hard to walk, isn't it? You lose that ability.
This is something we fight every step of the way. We may have talents, but in different ways, but we fight using them. We have to let go and use those talents instead of.
Exactly.
You may be a good cook. You may be a good song leader, but it takes effort to do those things.
That's right. And I've always heard the term, you need to practice. If you don't use it, even though you might not be perfect. Have you ever heard the word learn from your mistakes? The thing here that we need to remember, the first 2 people used what they had and multiplied. They gained more than what they had. The one that received 1, what did he do? He wrapped it in a handkerchief and hid it. How many of us cover up our talents and hide them? Think on it. Now look at the response here. He thought, well, I'm not going to lose it anyway. I know he's a hard man. I don't want to lose what he's given me. Because he said he was an exacting man. What's another version have on that? I think some have harsh.
Austere.
Huh?
Austere.
Austere. Wow. What does that mean? Stern. Yeah. Not much kidding with him. What you see is what you get. Yeah, and he expects a lot, doesn't he? He expects a lot. And he said, verse 22, he said to him, by your own words I will judge you. Because what did he just call him? He said, you're an exacting man. You've taken up where you haven't laid down. You've sowed where you haven't. You reap where you have not sowed. I will judge you by your own words, you worthless slave. Did you know that I am an exacting man, taking up what I did not lay down, reaping what I did not sow? Then why did you not put my money in the bank? And having come, I would have collected it with interest. Then he said to the bystanders, take the minion away from him and give it to one who has the 10. And they said to him, Master, he has 10 already. I tell you that to everyone who has, more shall be given. But to those from the one who does not have, even what he does not have shall be taken away. Now you stop and think about this. The one that had the most received another one. Why? Why did he do that? Why did that master do that?
Because he
Took
was
it from the
faithful.
one that did not do anything with it. He gave it to the
faithful
one.
with what he gave him.
The one that had multiplied it by 10, what did he do? He proved himself. Showed that he could handle it. To everyone who has, more shall be given. But the one who does not have, even what he does have, shall be taken away. Even though the one just had the one talent, he lost it all. What can you and I get from that? What can we get from that?
Think of what Christ did for us, and what are we going to give back to him?
Okay.
We don't give back what he wants, so we lose everything.
Well, God's going to reward our effort. If we, he doesn't ask for perfection because we can't be. But if we try,
I think that's the
whatever
key.
ability he knows what abilities we have. And if we're trying, the reward will be, because the man with 5, he was proud of him too.
Yeah.
He didn't make 10, but
He
did something.
He increased, yeah.
We have the offer of salvation, and if we don't do anything with that offer, then it will be taken.
Then it'll be taken away. That's exactly right. Exactly right. For everyone who has, more shall be given. If today you have a talent and you're not using it, it can be taken away. But if you have a talent and you're using it, what usually happens? More will come. More will come. Verse 27 now, finishing the thought. But these enemies of mine, who do not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slay them in my presence. What does that tell us about in the end? One that didn't do anything, guess what? Your reward will be destruction. Okay? But the one that is multiplied, the one that has worked and tried, you see what's looking at the end. So it's just one of these things that we need to look at ourselves inwardly. Where am I at in this? Do I have any talents? Do I do anything with my talents? Do I do anything? Where am I at? Only you can answer that. Only I can answer for me. I think we all say, well, Phil, I know I need to do more. But I know we all say that. The question is, what are you doing?
We can even be without very many talents, or even not even know our talents, but our actions can even help us.
Exactly.
You know?
The main
Always
thing
a
is,
way that we can do.
if we're hiding what we have, just like the one that put it in the handkerchief. If you're hiding it, it's the same thing as let your light shine, don't put it under a. Same principle. Same principle. Verse 28 now. After he said these things, he was going on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. We have to remember, why is Jesus going to Jerusalem? This is in the final days of his life. He's going to Jerusalem, knowing what's coming, knowing what they're going to do to him, and still heading that way. I don't know about y'all, but if I knew destruction was heading my way, what would we do? There's another route that we could take. Got it. Got it.
He prayed to God about it. Left it
Exactly.
perhaps to
Exactly.
be. But
We're-
if it's not my will, but thine be done.
That's right. That's right. We're going to stop right there and we'll take up with that next week. Thank you for your comments this morning.